It's August, and that means it's time to get to work on your oratory for the coming season. If you clicked on this video, chances are you want this year to be different than last. Maybe you're tired of losing to that same kid year after year, or you've never done oratory before and want to give it a try. This is where I come in. As a former NSDA National Final Round champion in original oratory and 8-year veteran speech coach, I have developed a system to take anybody from complete novice in original oratory to crafting a winning speech in just 7 steps. So without any further ado, let's get into it. The first step is choosing a topic for your speech. Now, in oratory, we try to solve a problem in society, so your topic needs to address some kind of problem. In general, oratories tackle 2 types of topics. There are concrete topics and abstract ones. Concrete topics involve things we can interact with using our 5 senses. So for example, a speech about how we use our phones too much, well, that would be concrete because we can see, hear, and even taste our phones. Not that I'd recommend it. On the other hand, abstract topics deal with things that exist in our minds, like our attitudes, values, and beliefs as a society. So for our phone speech, we can turn that into an abstract topic by saying we no longer value the art of communication. While both concrete and abstract topics can work great for oratory, I personally recommend using abstract topics because they tend to be more applicable to a wider group of individuals. While there are an infinite number of oratory topics you can choose from, I've managed to come up with 5 topic templates that create great topics every single time, and you can directly steal them. First, we think blank is always good, but in reality, it can be bad. For example, we think happiness is always good, but in reality, it can be bad. Number 2, we think blank is always bad, but in reality, it can be good. For example, we think stress is always bad, but in reality, it can be good. Number 3, we are obsessed with blank. For example, we are obsessed with outrage. Number 4, we don't know how to blank. For example, we don't know how to say goodbye. And number 5, we no longer value blank, or we no longer value gratitude. All right, here's your first challenge. Set a timer for 10 minutes, pause the video, and using these 5 topic templates, fill in as many potential topic ideas as you can. Ready? Go. By now you should have a long list of potential topics, but how do you know which one to choose? Well, the best oratory topics make the audience utter the following 3 phrases. First, wow, that is so true. Eliminate any topic that doesn't resonate as true for your audience. So, for example, we no longer value making money. That might not be the best topic because we as a society very much do value money. Number 2, wow, that is such a problem. Eliminate any topic that doesn't ring as harmful for your audience. So for example, we don't know how to fix broken dishwashers. Well, that might not be as harmful as we don't know how to fix broken friendships. And number 3, wow, that is so me. You want to make sure your topic is as relatable as possible for as many people as possible. So for example, we are obsessed with badminton may be true for you, but not for most people. However, we are obsessed with winning. Now that is a winning topic. Using those 3 criteria, you should be able to narrow down your list to one best idea. And now it's time for step 2. Step 2 involves choosing a structure for your speech. Now, while there are an infinite number of structures in oratory, there are 3 that stand out to me as the best time-tested options. First is the classic cause-effect structure, where your first point addresses the causes of the problem and your second point deals with its effects. This is probably the most popular structure, but it's not always the best. Another fantastic structure to use is macro-micro, where your first point addresses the large-scale societal implications of your topic, And your second point deals with the more personal effects of your problem. And third is the two-pronged approach, which uses 2 points that independently demonstrate what a problem your topic can be. Now, any of these can work great, and it really depends on your topic and examples. For example, if you can think of tons of examples that show why your problem exists, well, cause-effect is probably your best bet. On the other hand, if all of your examples fit into 2 clear categories, then two-prong is likely the best fit. If I were to rank each of these on a scale of floor to ceiling, meaning most potential to be terrible or most potential for a slam dunk, I would say cause-effect has the highest floor but the lowest ceiling. Macro-micro has the second lowest floor and the second highest ceiling, and two-prong has the lowest floor, meaning you can really mess it up, but it has the highest ceiling, the most room for a home run. In fact, I would say most NSDA national champions have used the two-prong approach over the last 30 to 40 years. Now, your speech has 5 main components to it: the introduction, your first and second point, your solutions, and your conclusion. Now, we already know our first and second point based on the structure we chose, so let's dig into each of these components within their points, also known as substructure. Let's start with the introduction. Now, your introduction should be split into 8 main parts: the attention-getting device, or AGD, the bridge, the background general, or BGD general, the background specific, or BGD specific, the ascending tricolon of doom, your thesis statement, your roadmap, and your swag line. So let's get into each of these. Now, first, the attention-getting device, or AGD, is the first thing that comes out of your mouth. And I like to recommend funny or dramatic stories either from your life, from history, fiction, or mythology that demonstrate your topic broadly. Next is the bridge, which connects your AGD to your main topic. Now, you can follow a simple template for every single bridge. And I find this insert problem to be the mentality not only in my AGD setting, but in our culture. So for example, if my speech is, "We are obsessed with productivity," and my AGD was about cooking, I might say a bridge line like, "And I find this obsession with productivity to be the mentality not only in our 5-star kitchens, but in our culture." After the bridge comes the BGD general, or background general. Here's where you introduce the first source in your speech, and it should be an explanatory source, such as a statistic, study, key term, or expert quote that broadly defines your topic. After the BGD general, you have the BGD specific, or background specific. Here you answer the question, where specifically do we see this problem in society? Bonus points if you use a source here, but you absolutely don't need to. Next is the ascending tricolon of doom. Now, an ascending tricolon is just a fancy way of saying, name 3 examples, increasing in severity, that demonstrate the harms of your topic. After the ascending tricolon, you state your thesis. Now, you should already have your thesis statement if you've used one of the topic templates I outlined earlier. After that, you have your roadmap. Now, your roadmap is where you outline the main points in your speech, and if you chose a structure, you should already have this done. Finally, we have the swag line, which is one final line that gets the audience pumped for the rest of your speech. Feel free to integrate this one into your roadmap. All right, here's your next challenge. Find any NSDA final round oratory on YouTube and try and figure out what are the 8 different parts of their intros. Ready? Go. Now that we have the shell for our intro, let's talk body points. Now, in English class, we often learn the phrase, show, don't tell. I disagree with that, at least for oratory. In oratory, we want to tell, then show. So our points start off with a tell source, some kind of statistic, study, key term, or expert quote that tells the audience what our point is about. Then we introduce a show source, otherwise known as a story, that demonstrates for the audience what our point is all about. For your solutions section, I recommend using the framework transformation substructure, where you start by introducing the audience to some kind of step-by-step action-oriented framework that they can use to solve the problem, and then introducing a transformative story, or some kind of story about somebody, it could be you, who took the framework you outlined earlier and applied it to improve their lives. Finally, the conclusion is where you implement the mini motivational speech, or MMS, framework. You start by conceding that this is a tough problem to solve. The concession is a great place to self-implicate, where you can say how you too have struggled with the problem. After that, you double down on how we need to solve this problem, and we can if we work together. Finally, you want one final closing line that ties a nice ribbon on the whole speech. One trick I like to use for the closing line is to tie it back to the attention-getting device, thus bringing your speech full circle. Now, while the shell may seem like a lot, the good news is it's pretty much the same for every single oratory. So once you understand it, you can apply it to any oratory you write in the future. All right, let's take a quick breather and recap what we've learned. We should now have an abstract topic using one of the 5 topic templates I outlined earlier, and should fulfill all 3 criteria. That's so true, that's such a problem, and that's so me. We should also have chosen a structure for our speech, cause effect, macro, micro, or 2-pronged, and we should have the full shell for our speech ready to fill in. If you made it this far in the video, you are clearly very passionate and serious about writing a killer oratory, and I applaud you for it and want to give you a free bonus. If you pause the video here and scroll down to the comments, you can type in your topic or a few you're choosing between, and I would be happy to give feedback. I'll try my best to get through every single comment. All right, let's get into the next step. Step 4 is research. Now, we'll start with what I call the research dump. Here, you want to amass a huge list of potential sources before whittling them down to what goes in your speech. The goal with the research dump is quantity, not necessarily quality. And you need to get creative with your Google searches. Really rack your brain for what kind of examples might work for your topic. And yes, this might even involve going to the 2nd or 3rd page of Google. Once you've amassed this huge list of potential sources, it's time to organize them into a research grid. Now, you're going to create a grid with 6 rows and 5 columns. And before explaining what goes inside of this grid, let's take a quick lesson in rhetoric. Persuasive speaking, while extremely complicated, can often be boiled down to just 3 parts: emotional persuasion, or pathos, logical persuasion, or logos, and authoritative persuasion, or ethos. This is where your research grid comes in. Each of the columns is going to represent a different type of source you might want to use in your speech: statistics/studies, key terms, expert quotes, and stories. Each of these source types does an excellent job both building up the authority and the logic of your speech. For example, you're way more likely to say, buy a tube of toothpaste, if you saw a study saying 99% of cavities get eradicated by it. The rows of your speech will represent the emotional arc of your speech, or what I call the 5 make-ems. Make them laugh, make them think, make them angry, make them cry, and make them inspired. Now you will take each source from your research dump and move it into their appropriate box in the research grid based on what type of source they are and what emotional pull they have. Once you've gone through every potential source in your research list, you can see which boxes in your research grid are missing. If you have no stories or no make 'em laughs, then chances are you have more research to do. Once your research grid is filled to the max, it's time for step 5. Step 5 is moving sources from your research grid into your shell. Now, when doing this step, I encourage you to think about the emotional arc of your speech. Imagine your speech is a book or a movie. You start off with the setting. Introduce your audience to the world of the speech with lighter examples. So make them laugh or make them think sources are great for the AGD, BGD, and early in your first point. However, as the speech goes on, you want to increase the tension and so you might want to start including make them angry or make them cry sources. Finally, your speech will reach the emotional climax, just like the part of a movie where the main character feels trapped or helpless, and you want your audience to think, wow, there's no way out of this problem. And that's when you introduce the solutions section. This is a great spot for a make 'em inspired source. Once your shell is filled in with sources from your research grid, it's time for step 6. Step 6 is where you connect the dots of your outline and write the actual speech. Now, most students skip right to this step, and that's why their speech ends up confusing or directionless. But if you've done your job right in the first 5 steps, step 6 should essentially complete itself. All you're doing is stringing together different parts of your outline using 2 types of connectors: transitional asides and ooh lines. Transitional asides are short conversational phrases that keep your speech feeling like just 2 friends having a chat. Don't think of your speech as a monologue you deliver to your audience, but rather as a dialogue between you and each audience member. To do this, use colloquial phrases to connect each part together, such as think about it, or it's no wonder, or look, I get it. Ooh lines fulfill a similar purpose in your speech, but carry more emotional weight. They come at the end of each point and should feel like a gut punch to your audience, hence why they're called ooh lines. Transitional asides and ooh lines humanize you to your audience and prevent it from just becoming a recitation of a research paper. Once your speech is written, it's time for the final step. Step 7 is where you revise your speech. The revision process involves asking yourself 3 simple questions: what works, what doesn't work, and what's missing. Go through your speech line by line, source by source, and ask yourself, does this work? If the answer is yes, then great, keep it. But if the answer is no, then figure out what's not working about it. Is it too redundant? Can your ooh lines be more gut punching? Finally, after combing through your entire speech, ask yourself what's still missing. Does your speech miss one of the 5 make-ems? Are you truly taking your audience on an emotional journey with you? Here's the thing with this step. It never really ends. Throughout the year, you're going to get comments from judges, coaches, teammates, and even other competitors on how you can improve your speech further. So the golden rule of the revision process is revise, 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 and then revise some more. Your oratory can always be better. And there you have it. The 7-step method to go from complete novice to writing a winning speech. Now, this should have given you everything you need to get started on your speech, but if you want to go even more in depth, visit justincooperspeech.com, where you can find extremely depthful ebooks and even one-on-one personalized coaching and speech reviews from me personally. The link is in the description. And last, as always, remember to speak up.